الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا محمد عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن اتبع سنته إلى يوم الدين. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, we start by praising Him, seeking His aid and seeking His forgiveness. Anyone whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides, none can misguide them. And anyone whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala misguides, none can guide them. We send an abundance of peace and salutations upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, upon his family and his companions, and all of those who follow in his footsteps to the end of time. Brothers and sisters, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was from a very prestigious clan known as Al-Quraysh. And Quraysh was the ruling clan of Mecca al-Mukarramah. They were in charge of the Hajj and the Umrah. And they were a very wealthy clan. They controlled everyone who came to Mecca. They forced them to deal with them and buy goods in this fashion. And they were the ones who unified, to a certain extent, at least in ruling perspective, the Arabs that lived in the Arabian Peninsula, particularly in Hijaz and more specifically in Mecca al-Mukarramah. How they got this prestige goes back to Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam and the establishment of Mecca and the foundation of the Kaaba. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed them not only with having control over what happens at the Kaaba and how the Hajj works, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also enabled them to be wonderful merchants, tujjar. In the summertime, they would go to the north, to Syria, to exchange in goods. And in the wintertime, they would go to Yemen and exchange in goods. And through this tijara, this bartering and this selling, it enabled Quraysh not only to have political power, but also to have economical power. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about this in the Quran. لِإِلَافِ Quraysh, the coming together, the strength of Quraysh. إِلَافِهِمْ رِحْلَةَ الشِّتَاءِ وَالصَّيْفِ, their ability to have control in their journeys in the summer, in the winter and in the summer. فَلْيَعْبُدُوا رَبَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ. So then you need to worship the Lord of this house. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks to Quraysh in the surah, talking to them and reminding them of these different seasons that He's blessed them with. Reminding them of the things that blessed them to have the political and economical security that they have today. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds them of this journeying in the winter and the summer. Brothers and sisters, we find ourselves today, starting, most of us that have smaller children, beginning our season of the summer. And we have this opportunity that we're blessed and privileged to spend time with our families. So we have to ask ourselves, how are we going to use this time? In the wintertime, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us to be a season where we're working. Our children are in school. And there are many things that occupy our time, that don't allow us to spend time together. But now that we have this opportunity, kids are no longer in school. We have this opportunity when we're able to go on vacation, some of us, and spend time in more leisure ways than we could before. What are we going to do? How are we going to spend our summers? Are we going to use it, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds the people of Quraysh, وَلْيَعْبُدُوا رَبَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ. And so you need to worship the Lord of this house, the one that enabled us to have our social and economical, the ones that enabled us to have the safety and the comfort and the love and the affection of the families that we have. We need to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the seasons that we find ourselves in. So as we are continuing on in our year, in a different part of our lives, in a different season that we find ourselves in, we need to ask ourselves, what intentionality are we going to have? Is it going to be something that we do with thoughtfulness? Is it going to be something that we do intentionally? Is it something that we're going to do in a state of gratitude, recognizing that not everyone has the ability to have the situation that we're in today? Not everyone has the ability economically to not worry about paying bills. Not everyone has the privilege to go on vacation, to travel. Some of us have summer homes. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Do we thank Allah for these things? But also, not all of us has the affection, that has the love, has the warmth in our homes that many of us are blessed to find here in Northern Virginia and in our community. It may not be externally. It may not be from the extended family. It may not be from people you wish had that same love and that same affection. And it perhaps is hard on our hearts. But we can't forget the love and the affection that we do have. If it's not from our immediate family, those people that we find closest to us. If it's not from our immediate family, who are those friends that support us? If it's not from our immediate family, is it our children and everyone else? These are things, brothers and sisters, that we have to be grateful for, that we have to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for. And it has to constantly be a reminder for us at how gracious and how merciful Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to benefit from this time that we have, this opportunity. If it's not our time, if it's not our economic status, if it's just the good weather that we have together, we thank Allah for it. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to be grateful for it, but also to make us people of intentionality and of patience. وَأَقُولُ قَوْلِ هَذَا وَاسْتَغْفِرُ اللَّهِ وَلَكُمْ لِسَائِرِ الْمُسْلِمِينَ وَاسْتَغْفِرُوا وَتُوبُوا إِلَيْهِ. بسم الله إن الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعد أما بعد. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, إن الله ملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل وسلم وأنهم بارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أجمعين. Brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He concludes Surah Al-Quraysh, فَلْيَعْبُدُوا رَبَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ. So then worship the Lord of this house, of the Kaaba. So then worship the Lord of the house in which our brothers and sisters are finishing Hajj right now. The direction which we pray 5 times a day in minimum. The one who's provided for us everything that we have and blessed us with the blessed Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, who was born in the outskirts right around the Kaaba. Where he was born, if you were to go today, it's not even a 5-minute walk from the Kaaba itself. فَلْيَعْبُدُوا رَبَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ. So we need to worship the Lord of this home. الَّذِي أَطْعَمَهُم مِّن جُوعٍ وَآمَنَهُم مِّن خَوْفٍ. The one who provided for them with sustenance when they were hungry and gave them safety and security when they were fearful. Brothers and sisters, if we reflect on the reality of the situation we find ourselves in here in Northern Virginia, we're incredibly privileged. Let's just really think about that. The fact that forget what's happening in Gaza. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for them. Forget what's happening in Sudan. Forget what's happening in Kashmir, in the Congo, and every other part of the world right now. Even in Northern Virginia itself. If we take a 45-minute drive to DC, or to Alexandria, or to other places that are not as privileged as us right now, we can see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us exponentially, more than so many other people right here in our own backyard. Who provided this for us, brothers and sisters? Who gave us this safety and this security? who provided for us this sustenance, if it's not just the food that we're eating, the ability to take care of ourselves, who provided us with the safety and the security where perhaps we have left our homes today and we aren't sure if we even locked our doors or not. The fact that we can go to sleep at nighttime and not have to worry about someone coming in. This is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided us with, brothers and sisters, requires that we are grateful for it. And oftentimes, or so frequently, we can find ourselves focusing on the negative. As one of my teachers, he mentioned that if we were to focus on the angels and the blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us more than we did, or like we do the jinns and hasad and envy and all these other things, our lives would be so much better. So can we focus on the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provided us for these things? Can we remember the blessings that Allah has given us? Can we reflect on them? وَلَئِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised us that if we were grateful, He will increase us. So as we're thinking about how we're going to spend our summers, we need to do three things, brothers and sisters, in bare minimum. First and foremost, we need to make plans now. We have to be intentional about how it is that we're going to spend our time. Our lives are measured in the number of breaths that we have. There are a certain limited number of breaths, whether we're awake or we're asleep. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will call back this amana of our bodies, of our souls that He's given us with. And we don't know when that will be called of us. We don't know how our state will be when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be in 70 years. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us long, healthy, pious lives. So how are we going to spend today? Are we going to use this to the best of our ability? Are we going to make plans to use our time? In the next 3 months, what are we going to do? What are we going to do individually? What are we going to do with our families? What are we going to do with our children? What are we going to do with our communities? How is it that we're going to spend our time? Are we going to love deeper? Are we going to push to the side the people that are causing us difficulty and focus on those that we have? Are we going to struggle against ourselves and the inclinations and the difficulty that we have to see the blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has fought and given us? This difficult work that it requires of us. And are we going to then be grateful for the things Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran many, many different times, فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. Which of the favors of your Lord will you deny? Which of the favors Allah has given us? الَّذِي أَطْعَمَهُم مِّن جُوعٍ وَآمَنَهُم مِّن خَوْفٍ. The one who's provided them food and sustenance when they were hungry, and safety and security when they were fearful. What about the safety and security emotionally that we have? The fact that we don't have bombs literally dropping on our heads. The fact that we know we can go to whatever grocery store it may be. Perhaps even the more, mashallah, we can get organic food if we want. الَّذِي أَطْعَمَهُم مِّن جُوعٍ وَآمَنَهُم مِّن خَوْفٍ. The one that's provided for them food and protected them when they're hungry. So are we going to be grateful, protect them when they're fearful? Are we going to be grateful for what we do have? And recognize that things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with are a gift for us. But in that gift are tests for us. And in that test is an opportunity. They're a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because none of us deserves anything that we have. Not our children, not our food, not our safety and security. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us far beyond anything we can imagine that we deserve. So it's a gift from Allah. But then it's a test. Because it's going to be asking us, how are we using this gift? Are we using it in a way that's pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Or are we wasting it doing things that are displeasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How are our lives oriented, shaped, directed to earn Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's blessings? Or are we using it in ways that are displeasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Or are we using it in ways that perhaps are less beneficial for us? And an opportunity. Because in that gift and in that test is an opportunity to make us like Ibrahim alayhi salam. Khalilullah, the friend of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The one whom, when he left his wife and small child in Mecca, and not knowing what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was going to give them, in the same house that Quraysh, years, centuries later, have the safety and the security and the privilege. Ibrahim alayhi salam left them with nothing. And he made a dua, رَبِّ جَعَلْ هَذَا الْبَلْدَ آمِنًا وَارْزُقْ أَهْلَهُ مِنَ الثَّمَرَاتِ. Ibrahim alayhi salam says, oh Allah, make this land a safe land and provide for those that believe in you in the last day fruits and sustenance. The dua of Ibrahim alayhi salam and the work that he did was an opportunity. And the fruits of that labor The benefits of sadaqah jariyah that our brothers and sisters are just leaving the Kaaba right now. What is the work that we're going to do? How do we seize this opportunity, brothers and sisters? That perhaps our deeds change the direction of the future. Perhaps the things that we do, just our commitment. Never overlook the blessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. Perhaps through our sincerity, through our ikhlas, through our taqwa, and our tawakkul, and our reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and our God consciousness, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes us an agent of change. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes us the reason why future generations no longer do the things that we dislike. Whether it be associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, having poor manners, or having good healthy culture. Maybe perhaps to the work that we've done, the first generation or the second generation, from it will come ulama. From it will come salihin, will come scholars and righteous people that are leading our communities and in being righteous fathers and mothers. Don't overlook what Allah has blessed us. So in this opportunity, brothers and sisters, that when we have that opportunity, we have to be patient. We have to struggle. Patience, brothers and sisters, is not complacency. Patience is not giving up. Patience that we work with the ma'adin, the tools that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the metal that Allah has given us, to see what can I do to make this the best thing possible. And with the challenges and the difficulties that come, I work with that to continue to fight against my desires, to continue to fight to do that which is right. And we will be tested, brothers and sisters. There will be difficult times. But in that difficulty, if we open our eyes and we open our hearts, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises us, Inna ma'al usri yusra. Indeed, with the difficulty is goodness. With it, at the same time, it's happening synonymously. At right when we're having that difficulty, if we can open our eyes, perhaps our relationships get better. Perhaps in the difficulty we have some sustenance that comes from a way we can never imagine. He provides for you in ways you can never imagine. Perhaps when we lost some family, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provided us with new family. We lost some friends, we got a new friends. We went through some difficulty in our work. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened up other opportunities for us. Our community is struggling right now. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provides us with a new community. Brothers and sisters, whatever it is that we may be going through, whether it be economically or socially, inna ma'al usri yusra. We can't forget that. So as we are starting our summer vacation, brothers and sisters, and we're finding ourselves figuring out what it is that we're going to do, we have to remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who's given us the breaths that we're breathing and the heart that's pumping the blood in our veins. And we have been extremely blessed, brothers and sisters, to have this beautiful religion of Islam, to have this beautiful tradition that helps govern and guide every aspect of our lives. It's not meant to be a tradition that's difficult. It's not meant to be a tradition that harms us. It's an opportunity to orient our lives, to shape how it is that we exist in a way that's pleasing to Allah. So can we surrender over to Allah and recognize that He has given us something that we can use? So should we make our intentions now and make plans to use our summers in a way that's pleasing to Allah? With our children, with our families, with ourselves, what goals are we setting? Can we be grateful for the opportunity, for the fact that we can make these plans? Our brothers and sisters in Gaza, our brothers and sisters in Sudan, and everywhere they may be going through difficulties and challenges and oppression in the world, don't have the opportunity. There's no okay, should I go on vacation here or go to this restaurant there? It's how are we going to live today? And still with that, they're going to have Quran circles. Still with that, they're cooking for others and providing. And still with that, they're taking care of their children. What are we going to do, brothers and sisters? Can we be grateful for the blessings that we've had? And lastly, can we be patient with the difficulties? With the struggles, our struggles with our parents, our struggles with our children, our struggles with our neighbors, our struggles with our friends, our struggles in our minds, and our struggles in our hearts. Brothers and sisters, let's use this summer to level up, as they say. Let's use this summer to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to struggle against ourselves and with ourselves, to be whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed for us, to achieve those opportunities that we can never imagine for ourselves. As I've mentioned time and time again from the same pulpit, what we see happening in Sudan and Gaza should expand the imagination of our spiritual horizons of what is possible. They should allow us to have a new tasawwur, a new imagination for what humans are capable of spiritually and their ability to connect with Allah. What are we going to do? We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us a community that turns to Him sincerely, with certainty, and with conviction. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to never let us overlook the blessings that He's given us, whether it be the sustenance or it be the safety and security. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us a people of profound gratitude for all the blessings that He's given us. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us a people that have patience with our situations and our circumstances, that allow us to be humble and recognize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who put us here and He's the one who's going to take us out of here. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to open our hearts and our minds to the potential that He's given us and the opportunity that He's given us. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to provide for us healthy, loving, serving community that will support us in our difficult time and our bad times. Brothers and sisters, love deeply. Love compassionately. Recognize those people that are around you, that are supporting you, and pour into them, because we can't do it alone. وَأَقُولُ قَوْلِي هَذَا وَأَسْتَغْفِرُ اللَّهَ وَلَكُمْ لِسَائِرِ الْمُسْلِمِينَ اسْتَغْفِرُوهُ وَتُوبُوا إِلَيْهِ أَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
Strain the lines for the gaps. Pray as if this was your last prayer. Allahu Akbar. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.